Hi, Rich Spezzano here from Digitally Fearless, and I've been playing with the new Affinity Photo version 2 for the iPad. And I have to tell you, I absolutely love it for many, many reasons. When they said that the whole UI changed in the regular desktop version, it didn't matter to me. I looked at it, it was a little bit of differences, and I was okay with that. I love the new features, but I didn't care about the UI. Here in iPad, I absolutely love it. And here's some of the reasons why. If you've only used iPad, you might have to have some readjustments, but if you use both the desktop and the iPad like I do, the adjustments are so much easier. I used to have so many problems switching back and forth, but now I noticed that all of these look almost the same as the desktop. Many things have changed here that I really, really love. For example, the context bar is on the top now. Let's just create something. Let's just do a rectangle, and I can give it a color here. So let's say there's a blue rectangle. It used to be down here, but I hated it because I happened to look up and down and everything. Now I love that it's up on top, just like it is on the desktop. And I think it's so cool. So different things that you can do up here, which is really kind of interesting. I just converted it to curves. I can just do things with curves, but it depends on what you're working with. And I love the fact everything's on top, and sometimes on the side they took a little cue from Procreate. So I'm glad that they did that. For example, if I add a new layer, let's try this. Let's add a new layer, pixel layer, and then I take my paintbrush. Let's pick some kind of a thick brush right now, and I want to paint. Here's how I'm painting, but on the side here, I can make my width bigger or smaller. I could go full screen, or I can go down here. I can actually click right here and put in a certain amount, but I prefer to do it this way, and that works for me. I can also change the flow. I can change the opacity. So I think this is so much better right now. So I can just do different things like that. On top is the context bar. If I want a window stabilizer, you can see how it's dragging, and I can just make that smaller like that. So you can see I'm making a mess. I know I'm making a mess, but I absolutely love the fact that these are on the side over here, and I should point that way. These are on the side, and I love that the context bar is up on top. That makes my life a lot easier. I do have a undo on the bottom here. I don't have to. I just put it here from preferences, but I never use it because I can redo and undo. If I tap two fingers just like that, I am undoing. If I want to redo it, I tap three fingers and I bring it back. Now, I used to have to press down to get some other features, which I can. For example, here's my curve that I have here. Let's select this, and I would press down, and it used to be this tiny, tiny little box that came up, but now I can press down and I can click delete, duplicate. So I'm really happy with that too. If I don't want to press down and hold, I could slide down with three fingers and it does the same thing. So it has choices depending on what you have selected. For example, so I have the pixel layer and I'm pressing down and letting go. So I can duplicate that layer. I can rasterize that. I could zoom to the selection, select all, rasterize to mask. Everything is there that I need. The only thing I'm not crazy about is I wish it was here. I used to do this and then I'd be able to say deselect. So, but now if you want to deselect something, like for example, if I make a selection here and I want to deselect, I go up here because up on top right here is the selection things. It's still easy. It's not really hard, but there's my deselect right there. So I can deselect that way. But I didn't have to go to another persona. The old one, you had to go to some selection. It was crazy. This is so much easier. And there are a lot of features even in here. Select from layer, select sampled color. There's so many things in the selection that are great. And another very cool feature that they added to the UI in Affinity Photo 2 for the iPad is right down here on the bottom right. If you click it once, it places a dot on your screen. And that dot is easy to use to control the option command and the shift keys. I actually prefer the hand gestures, but once in a while, once I get used to this, I might like it. For example, I'll just give you a quick example. Once again, I'm trying to keep this simple. Here's a rectangle. So if I keep that on my screen, I can either tap and I can see the things, but if I tap and push up, that's shift. So now that that's a shift, that means when I try to rotate, it goes in 15-degree increments. So it really kind of replaces a keyboard shortcut, and I think it's very cool. I'll just show you a couple of more features that I absolutely love. Let's talk about the difference. We now have live warp, and we also have live envelope warp, which is almost the same, and I'll show you the difference between them right now. So let's do live warp first. Let's take some text, T-E-X-T. Okay, so there's my text. Now I can go to live filters, and just like before, right here is the filters. And if you want the live ones, you have to click on top right here. And there are all your live filters. So somewhere here, there should be something that says, I think it's mesh warp. There it is, mesh warp. So now it's mesh warp. So now I can do something like this. Hold on. Come on. There we go. I could do something like that. I could do that. If I want to do that, I could do that. And the nice part about this is it's live. Let's go into the layers. It's live, and here it is right down here. That's my mesh warp right there. And so if I double click on that, I can change it anytime. So let's do this. Let's say I want it there. And then I'm done on that, right? So now I can also change the text in there. So if I select the text layer and I go across the text layer, instead of text, I'll say, I don't know, home, H-O-M-E. Let's say H-O-M-E. And it's a little bit big for the envelope. So I can either make the envelope bigger or I can make the text smaller. So I have to go back to the text, and I'm going to go just like, I'm going to select that text like that, all the text, and instead of, well, 211, let's bring it down to, say, I don't know, 150. Not sure what we want, but now it fits into the same thing. So here you can change it and go back. If you want to warp it again, you can warp it a different way. So all of these are live. So that is live mesh warp. I'm going to show you live envelopes, which I think is better than this. So let's delete this and delete that. Now I'm going to go to my rectangle tool right here. Let's make a rectangle, and let's warp that rectangle. So let's go back to filters. Make sure you're on live filters. Go back to, let's see, mesh warp. And let's say now that we want to do something like this. Maybe it goes on a bottle or something. I don't know. Let's say you wanted to put some label on a bottle. And there it is. Very simple. I could do some wild stuff, but let's just keep it very simple like this. This is my bottle. I can do all kinds of weird things, but I'm going to leave it at that. It's a very crooked bottle. So there you go. So that's my bottle. So let's say I now want to create a label. So let's get another rectangle like this. Let's say this label is a dark green label. And then I'm going to put some text right here and say my product in all caps, my product. Right? And I will take that like that. And this is like really the ugliest label you will ever see. But I just want to prove a point, what I can do with this. So there's my product. And let's do some crazy thing on the product. Let's say you want to go to a shape. And let's pick a cog. I don't know. In the middle of that product, we're going to change that to some color red cog. I don't know, something like, yeah, let's do that. It's pretty ugly. And I'm going to move that behind the text. And this is our label. So let's select all of these. I'm going 1, 2, 3. I'm swiping, and I'm going to group them by clicking right here. So now they're grouped. And let's make that, I don't know how big it has to be, but let's try that. If we now take that label, go down into the side, it's now inside the envelope that we just created. So we can move this and we can make it larger. So just think about it. You could have created a box with sides on it. You could create this the front of a bottle label. And this is how easy it is. And no matter what you do, you could put a photograph in here, which I think is pretty cool. You can even turn it. So you could do that. Oh, if you didn't want to do that, let's say we even put a photograph. Forget that the label's in there. Let's go to some Pixabay and do wine. W-I-N-E. I'm searching for wine and say I want this wine glass. Oh, maybe I'll do this one. Put that one in here. Okay, and now let's go pull out so I could see it. So say that's what you wanted on your label. Now you see it's already warped because if you look at my layers, I put that right over that group, which was already in the label. So you can do, and you can again go back to the warp, which is right here, and you could change anything about it. And you can go back to the actual wine bottle and change that. You can make it bigger or smaller, and move it wherever you want to move it. So that's a very cool feature. So it's great for product placement, it's for mock-ups and everything. I'm going to show you one more thing, and then I'm going to stop this tutorial because I'm going to be making a lot more tutorials on different things. I don't want to overwhelm you all at once, but I thought this was also very cool. So I'm going to delete all of that, and now I'm going to, let's do a rectangle. Let's see. Here's a rectangle like that. And now it doesn't matter what color it is, I'm going to go to FX. And in FX, I am going to give that an outline. So right here, I turn on my outline. And once again, I love that the thing on top is showing right here, inside, inner, outer, normal, whatever. And I like that on the bottom, it's the radius and the opacity, on the side, and nothing is touching me on the bottom. It's like it's just like it is on the desktop, which I absolutely love this. So I am going to just give this outline a nice radius like that. All right, and now the nice thing, this is brand new. You can go back to your outline with your effects here, and you see the plus sign right near the top here. Click a plus, and you just added another outline. Now you don't see it, and the reason you don't see it is because it is the same color and it's right on top of each other. But say I put it as a blue, and say I change the size. Now I have two outlines. If I'm going to get close up here, I have two outlines. I can also decide instead of outside, it's on an inside, and I can make that even bigger. And I can keep going. I can do three outlines if I want to. I can keep going, and I could switch them around. For example, on the side here, where that's here, you see the arrow. I could switch one to the bottom. I could switch it to the top or one below it. And that all depends on what you're doing. Sometimes it hides it. Sometimes it makes it larger. And you can just decide. Like if this was on the outside or in the center, let's say it's the center, and I keep doing that, you barely see it, right? Or maybe even on the outside, I should say. I'm going to go here, but you didn't see it here because the blue is now underneath, the blue here is underneath the black. So you make it larger, that's the black, or you make it like that. So you can do three, you could do four. I don't know what the limitations are, but that's pretty cool. And you could do the same thing. I did some on my part of my tutorial for the desktop version on gradient overlays. And the nice thing about doing more than one gradient overlay, you can change the blend modes inside of effects. So that's how you do that. So I think that's it for now. I hope you liked this tutorial. I will be doing more, but I know some people are not used to this new UI, but I love it because if you're using both desktop and you're switching back and forth desktop to iPad, it is so easy. Oh, one more thing that I really love, I'm going to show you very quickly. here you have layers, but if you want to shrink them, go like that. And then, so you can have, like, I don't care how many layers you want to put. Let's do another pixel layer, but you don't have to have them so much in your way if you can move them down. Okay, so that's it. And I will be doing many more tutorials, and I'm trying to get the iPad version in too. I'm doing a lot on the desktop. I've had hundreds before on the desktop and only a few on iPad, but I'm trying to get used to the iPad, and now I love this so much more. So I hope you like this tutorial. And if you do, please click like and subscribe, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye.